It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the Morning Star Drive, you know.
Hey guys, how's it going? It is Monday, March 15th, and this is the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. We're on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe, follow us on SoundCloud, and support us on Patreon. So today we'll get some coronavirus updates, current news from around the world, and of course, the Sunday sermon, the message about preciously using the temple and your body that God has given you. Yes, guys, guess what? Tomorrow is 316, and it really feels like a special 316 for everyone. It's kind of like I don't know the right way to say it, like a recovery. Like we're gonna actually do it right this time, and we're gonna recover. Like that's kind of a feeling I'm getting. And of course, there were a lot of mistakes that happened in the past with 316. Well, if you look at 2015, that was a big mistake, right? And then last year, when Sunsteam came out, we were trying to do it really, really big and great. And well, not last year, it would be the year before. No, it was last year? No, it was the year before. And it was just a disaster when Sunsteam got so upset. And I was there too. And, yeah. But this is the year I feel. I really feel this is a year we're going to recover and fix all the mistakes. Even though we're all going to be at home watching the broadcast, it just really feels different. I hope you guys had a really good weekend, though, and I'm sure that Sunday message was super inspiring, mind-blowing, tearful, I couldn't help it. I just broke down at the end. It was so good, and just everything that was said in the message was perfect for me, and I'm sure it was for you guys too. But with that grace and fire we got from the Sunday message and the new direction we get, I hope that we start a new week and receive 316 tomorrow, that we can do it just amazingly together as one body of the history of God, okay? So this is a week. Well, more than just a week, it's just these next 2 days, right? We get to restore and recover as much as we can. So let's do it together here on the Morning Star Drive. Just really grateful and thankful for everyone joining us here. And I want to let you know that we did actually start on 316 last year. So we're going to be heading on our 1 year anniversary. It's interesting because on 317 was when the first episode came out, but it was 316, that message that inspired me. And then not only inspired me, I recorded the first podcast on 316, and then I uploaded it for 317. So it is a really special day for the Morning Star Drive too. So super happy about this. Tomorrow will be tomorrow, and I would say 317, because tomorrow we're not going to have like a full-on episode because it's going to be 316. So many things going on. I will do an episode for sure, but it should be a little different and a special one also. Okay, so yeah, it's really amazing, guys. So I'm really excited about it too. Over the weekend on Friday, we had the on Espresso with Sky, we had a new video about how to live a satisfying life. And of course, tomorrow on 316, we're going to have a Lab 78 live, and that's going to be at 8 p.m. Malaysian time. So that is an interesting one about the debate of guys and girls. Like, not so much debate who's better, but it's more so of like how the equality, the gender equality, whatever you want to call that. Yeah, so yesterday, though, was a Sunday edition, and we interviewed Hannah Mulvihill from New York, and really good interview, guys, and great stories, and just to hear what she's been through to get to this history. She was someone, when I was head leading in New York, she was one of the members of the church. She was amazing. She's praised, at that time, she was like a praise leader, and now she's doing she's in med school. You guys just got to watch it. Really good Sunday edition this week. And also, especially big shout outs to Tony and Maria in Texas, also Heidi in LA, and Jocelyn in Singapore. Just these super supporters over there on Patreon, and just really believing and supporting in this channel. Really grateful and thankful for that also. And if you too want to support us, then check out the Patreon link in the description. And if you're on SoundCloud, click the blue button on the homepage. Patreon is a crowdfunding site that you can support the Morning Star Drive at just $3 a month. At the moment, we have lecture training videos, Monday Bible studies, and we have question and answer with lectures. So it's really good. So go ahead and check that out if you'd like to support. Or if you just want to support, just supporting because you really like these podcasts, go ahead and do so too, all right? And of course, tonight we have an open Bible study, another lecture tonight, and it will be posted on Patreon tomorrow too, all right? So let's move on to today's featured artist of the day. What is going on, guys? this is a very, very awesome Monday because it's the day before. And I know you guys, 313 was also Pastor Jones' birthday. Hope you guys wished her a happy birthday also. But let's take a look at on this amazing Monday, the featured artist of the day. We're going to start with something fast and something upbeat. We're going to start with Kuma-chung from Japan with Open My Eyes. And then we'll go into Renee live from Taiwan, singing a cover of GEM. And that song is called Still That Girl. And last but not least, we have J. Root from the Paper Music Associates in Korea. And this is one of his most recent singles, and it's called Diver. All right, guys, so more than anything else, let's support our member artists from around the world. But also, guys, remember something else. Tomorrow is a new album comes out for Dio Wings, so I'm going to have that song out first before anyone else, all right? So what does that mean, guys? It means it is time to listen to this awesome music, so make sure you keep all of our member artists in your prayers more than anything else.
Open the eyes, open the door, open my heart, 見心探して Open the eyes, open the door, open my heart, 未来照らす my way 揺れないで go 揺れないで go どんなかな迫害が来ても動じない強い信仰を持って立ち向かおうファミリーで go ファミリーで go 全ての人を受け入れられる家族のような温かさを持ってゆこう主の御心ファーストでゆこういつも主の心情と共に主の言葉を最優先にして動き出そう伝えよう御言葉を実践し挑戦してナンバーワンを目指してゆこう全ての個性才能を生かし挑戦しよう主役になろう伝えたい I'm happy, I'm happy 新しく You are shining, you are shining 伝えたい I'm happy, I'm happy 新しく You are shining, you are shining オープンでこうオープンでこう地域や社会の目線に立ち発展に積極的に貢献しよう近づいてこう近づいてこう全ての世代と距離を近く親しく接したならは僕をなそう縛られてる心を捨ててこう新しい取り組みをしよう主の言葉で心を燃やして動き出そうどんどんチャレンジしよう家族のような温かさで愛に満ちた教会しよう CGM オープンの先駆者として強みを生かし大胆になろう伝えたい I'm happy, I'm happy 新しく You are shining, you are shining 伝えたい I'm happy, I'm happy 新しく You are shining, you are shining 主の御言葉に出会いすべて与えられた何もない私だったけど育ててくれたその愛をいつまでも忘れずにいようもらったものすべて捧げ御心
当年我13岁，写的这首歌，公主每天在睡，梦里当游客，梦里爱上谁，都一定匹配。梦里痛的不懂得恐惧，痛的不用面对，追不过来的时间，做梦做的陶醉，但是我不的脸一再不可见。当那天真的我从梦里闯进现实，我曾经自由的脚步从此受到牵制。梦醒了吗？你的话像锋利的剑，能踏什么？这句话越听越可怜。小孩 baby 长大，那受尽的瞳孔 baby 放大。百年沉睡的歌王主，为了梦想到现实的束缚。他不愿背叛自己许下的承诺，他不愿过着没有梦想的生活。他能否别忘了我？我是抬头望着天空，拿着想飞的风筝，但现实却是在我身后一直拉着我的绳。如果生活必须让我变成被困住的手，为何不能让我永远都被困在一个梦？梦醒了吧，你的话像锋利的剑，能拿是的吧？这句话越听越可怜，啊，你忘了吧，还是绝望了吧？才让曾奋不顾身追的梦只剩一个和弦。百年沉睡的公主，为了梦想到现实的束缚。她不愿背叛自己许下的承诺，她不愿过着没有梦想的生活。她能否别忘了我？我是抬头望着天空，那只想飞的风筝，但现实却是在我身后一直拉着我的绳。如果生活必须让我变成被困住的手，为何不能让我永远都被困在一个梦？梦醒了吧，你的话像锋利的剑，能拿是的吧？这句话越听越可怜，啊，你忘了吧，还是绝望了吧？才让曾奋不顾身追的梦只剩一个和弦。百年沉睡的公主，为了梦想到现实的束缚。她不愿背叛自己许下的承诺，她不愿过着没有梦想的生活。她能否别忘了我？她能否别忘了我？
From the Paper Music Associates in Korean, that song, one of his latest singles, it is Diver. Before that was Renee Lai from Taiwan, was Still That Girl, a cover of GEM. And of course, the feature artist of the day was Kuma-chung from Japan with Open My Eyes. All right, so let's get into some news, things that we've haven't seen over the weekend, things that we missed over the weekend. We'll start with the coronavirus updates. We have gotten up to 119.8 million cases in the world with 2.6 million deaths and a 2.22% remaining steady in the mortality rate. Top 6 countries going by daily infection rates. We have the US at 30 million cases, 545,000 deaths at 1.82%. Brazil overtakes India for number 2, his first time. 11.3 million cases, 275,000 deaths at 2.42% mortality rate. And then India, 11.3 million cases, 158,000 deaths at 1.4%. France hits 4 million cases with 90,000 deaths at 2.24%. Italy, 3.2 million cases, 101,000 deaths at 3.18%. And Poland remained in the top 6 with 1.8 million cases, 47,000 deaths at 2.49%. Sweden and Belgium, 2 countries that we've been keeping our eyes on. Sweden, because they never went to full lockdown, they're down to 1.84%, and Belgium drops to 2.79%, and they used to be the highest in the world, over 16% at one point. Daily infection rates for the day. Okay, so Brazil is like steadily on top. So Brazil's at 84,000 cases in a day, then the US at 66,000, India at 27, Italy at 26,000 cases, France at 25,000 cases in a day, and then Poland at 18,000 cases in a single day. Over here in Southeast Asia, kind of an explosion in one country. We'll talk about a little bit about it in the news, but Indonesia at 6,400, and the Philippines out of nowhere, 4,500 cases in a single day. That's more than doubled all of a sudden, right? And then Malaysia over here is remaining steady at 1,500 cases in a day. But yeah, we will talk about the Philippines also too. All right, so let's get into some current news around the world. A couple things that we want to take a look at, especially during this time. Okay, so let's start off with big news when it comes to the Quad. Okay, so U.S. and allies promise 1 billion jabs for Southeast Asia, which is great news for everyone over here. The leaders of the U.S., Australia, India, and Japan have agreed to deliver 1 billion doses of coronavirus vaccine to much of Asia by the end of 2022. So the joint commitment was made following the first leaders meeting of the so-called Quad. And then this group was formed in 2007. The vaccines expected to be the single-dose Johnson & Johnson product are set to be manufactured in India. The U.S. said the massive joint commitment would initially focus on delivering doses to Southeast Asia, with Indian manufacturing, U.S. technology, Japanese and American financing, and Australian logistics. They are committed to delivering up to 1 billion doses, okay? And also the vaccines would go to the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, as well as the Pacific and beyond. And ASEAN is a 10-member international body that represents more than 500 million people. Thailand, Indonesia, and the Philippines are all members. And India's formidable vaccine production capacity will be expanded with support from Japan, US, and Australia. And India's Prime Minister Modi wrote on Twitter after the meeting. So what else was discussed besides that? Talks on Friday were the group's first at a leaders level, and Mr. Modi said vaccines, climate change, and emerging technologies were all on the agenda, and the 4 countries have agreed to plan to pool their financial resources, manufacturing capabilities, and logistical strength so as to ramp up the manufacturing and distribution of the coronavirus vaccines. Now, the Quad group is often regarded as a counterweight to China's growing assertiveness in Asia, and comments from the 4 leaders after the meeting appeared to take indirect aim at Beijing, and all nations pledged to defend a free and open continent. And the U.S. President Joe Biden, who chaired the meeting, said in a statement that we're renewing our commitment to ensure that our region is governed by international law, committed to upholding universal values and free from coercion. So Australian Prime Minister Morrison said the summit represented a new dawn, and Japanese Prime Minister Suga took a more direct line against Beijing, and he told reporters he had raised strong opposition to China's unilateral attempts to change the status quo. Right, so those of you who don't know who the Quad is a shorthand for the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. It's an informal strategic forum for 4 nations, and though it was formed in 2007, it was on hiatus for nearly a decade after Australia's then Prime Minister Kevin Rudd withdrew Australia in 2008, and the group was resuscitated in late 2017 as the Trump administration ramped up confrontation with Beijing. And although the group is often regarded as an effort to contain China's growing ambitions, official statements leading up to Friday's meeting said little about the country. But, of course, Chinese state media has criticized the group, right? So that is the first one. Second one is we're going to talk about coronavirus pandemic happening in Italy. So Italy to shut down shops and schools amid infection spike. Shops, restaurants, schools will be closed across most of Italy on Monday. With the Prime Minister Draghi warning of a new wave of the coronavirus outbreak. So for 3 days over Easter, from April 3rd to the 5th, there will be a total shutdown. And Italy, which 1 year ago imposed one of the first national lockdowns, is once again struggling to contain the rapid spread of infections. And the country has reported more than 100,000 deaths, and Europe's second highest tally after the UK. Now, Italy's vaccination campaign has been hit by delays, as you know, also has been seen elsewhere in the European Union. And last week, the government in Rome blocked the export of 250,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine to Australia in a bid to address shortfalls of vaccines. And elsewhere, like Bulgaria, Denmark, Norway, have all paused the use of the AstraZeneca vaccine over fears it causes blood clots. And the WHO said on Friday There was no indication this was true, stressing that countries should not stop using the vaccine. And in other developments across Europe, like Poland registered nearly 19,000 new daily cases on Friday, which is the highest number for them since November. Germany is reporting a rapid rise in infections among school children, with the new COVID variants blamed. Now, in France, the number of patients in intensive care units exceeded 4,000. It's the record figure for more than 3 months. Okay, so there's a lot of things going on over there, but it looks like Italy is now shutting down for at least 3 days over the Easter holidays, right? And of course, I was going to tell you about the Philippines. So why is the Philippines all of a sudden doubled in their daily cases? It's because Philippines have now reported their first Brazil coronavirus variant as new cases surge. And the country reported at that point around 4,578 new coronavirus infections on Friday. And it's been remaining steady until yesterday too. The biggest daily increase in cases in nearly 6 months, and the Philippines has detected its first case of the highly contagious coronavirus variant first identified in Brazil. And the health department said as a number of infections surges to the highest level in 6 months. So there was a Filipino returning from Brazil that tested positive for the Brazil variant. After 752 samples were sequenced at the Genome Center, the department said in a statement on Saturday, and it reported 59 new infections of the new variant that was detected also from the UK, and 32 new cases from South Africa, and this bringing the cases for those variants to 177. Now, correct and consistent adherence to the minimum public health standards will prevent this transmission of these variants, the department said, and the department also reported 13 cases with mutations of possible clinical significance, right? So the Philippines, which has the second highest number of coronavirus cases and deaths in Southeast Asia, is battling a renewed surge as it ramps up a vaccination drive that started on March 1st. Friday, the country reported, like I said, 4,578 new coronavirus infections, and the biggest daily increase in cases in nearly 6 months, and that brings a total number of confirmed cases in Philippines. We haven't heard this number in a while, is 611,618 cases. That's the Philippines. And the number of deaths is over 12,000, reaching 13. And then they added another 87, right? So the renewed surge in the coronavirus cases has prompted mayors in the capital of Manila, an urban sprawl of 16 cities, to impose an evening curfew until the end of March and remind the public to practice physical distancing. And the latest developments also come as Japanese health officials reported on Friday a new coronavirus variant in a traveler from the Philippines. So Japan's National Institute of Infectious Disease said that the person's coronavirus sample tested positive for 2 different mutations, actually. And the variant is distinct from those first discovered in Britain, South Africa, and Brazil, and is thought to pose a similar level of threat. Right, so this was also that was coming from Japan. So this is kind of why things are going like that over there in the Philippines. Why there's a mutation there now, and this is why there's a big spike. Okay. All right, so that is the coronavirus, not the coronavirus, it's just kind of the current news happening around the world, and it just so happens that a lot of these are coronavirus news, all right? So what does that mean, guys? It is March 15th. It's very, very exciting. So we do need to spend some time giving praise and glory to the Holy Trinity, and of course, I chose this first song because this is what's going to happen tomorrow. It is the gates of the wedding banquet have opened. Right? And then and then this next song I really like too, because it makes us think about the past, the last 10 years, 15 years, 20, 40 years, right? All we've gone through from the past to the present, to kind of remind us of what has happened, and then we'll finish with one of the crowd favorites is My Confession to the Lord.
Heavenly brides of love, my flock in pastures green, turn your eyes towards the heavens, look to heaven's King. met you, my Lord. How I made up my mind. How I decided I would learn from you only, focusing on this word alone. I have seen how you really live your life. I have seen for myself. Now I will not be shaken, whatever comes. I have seen you, Lord, so how could I share? I will serve you, Lord, you who are the King of 10,000 kings. And I'll love you, Lord, forever is my bridegroom. I'll love you more. You've become my everything. I've given all my life to you. Please use me according to your way. When I saw the Almighty shine through you, I got down on my knees. Surely the Trinity are working through you. I confess to you through these burning tears. I will serve you, Lord, you who are the King of 10,000 kings. And I'll love you, Lord, forever is my bridegroom. I'll love you more. You've become my everything. I've given all my life to you. Please use me according to your will. Everything, the work you've done, the word you breathe, I can testify that all these things are true. I preach with the Spirit of truth. I will serve you, Lord, you who are the King of 10,000 kings. And I'll love you, Lord, forever is my bridegroom. I'll love you more. You've become my everything. I've given all my life to you. Please use me according to your will.
And there it is. It is my confession to the Lord. I hope we can do this tomorrow, especially during 316. Before that was all we've gone through from the past to the present. And of course, the gates of the wedding banquet have opened. All right, guys. So let's get into today's word study. And of course, it had to do with yesterday's just crazy Sunday service. Unbelievable. It was really, really unbelievable. Like, it went beyond my expectations. I wasn't sure what to expect for this kind of preparation for the 316, but gosh, tell me, guys, that was intense. It was so intense. Like, it was just like this great, this slow, gradual build, and then it just hit you like a ton of bricks near the end. And I was just like, wow, like, talk about the temples, like, oh, it makes sense, temples, and, we built this temple, and then Mormon temple, and this, and this temples, we got temples, and we got temple. And then it's like, it's just like sliding you deeper into that spiritual realm, and it's going into the value of self and what we've been through, and how much, don't look so down on yourself, like we didn't do anything to deserve it. Like, of course, in the beginning of, all the conditions were set by Sunsteam, right? So it's not like we had any chance without that condition. But, it was also like, it's not like you didn't do anything just to get, we really need to think about the past and what we've gone through. It is something we should think about a lot more because, yeah, even for myself, I'm just like, wow, we should think about this and not like undervalue it or we undersell ourselves. Like, it was nothing that we did, but it was really, it was pretty crazy. So yeah, it was just the entire feel of the message yesterday was very intense, and it was like the perfect service before 316. And I like it too, because I remember last year or the year before, I remember it was like Sunday was the 50th, exactly like, it was exactly like what happened for 316 when Monday was 316 and we have a Sunday service. But this one is, I like having this extra day in between. It just allows me to listen to the Sunday message, and then it gives me that that cushion to really think back and look at all the things that have happened and all the mistakes that were made and everything else for myself. So I really like this extra day that I have, right? So I like the message, especially when it's like, it's going to be broadcasted, but we really need to be people that just have to be focused. Like, more than anything else, just be really focused while we're watching. And I realize it's such an easy thing to do because all the broadcast, everything else is being recorded, everything else is being like done for us, and we just need to enjoy it and realize that regardless of where we are, who we're with, it's going to be something we enjoy together with the Lord. So I was really, really happy about that too. Just listening to this also. And in the beginning, listening to the history of the temples, that was really amazing to see that first video showing all the, it kind of like just a short timeline, just focused on the buildings we had. And in that short amount of time, in those 20 years, how blessed we were. It really was. To see in that short amount of time, to see how far God has been with us since the beginning, doing it together with us. We can see how God helped us. I like it, especially because we get to see a larger picture. Like, the large picture of things is, in that short amount of time from 1978 all the way to, like, was it 1989? That's only like 11 years when we're starting, build Wonmyeongdong and stuff like that too. Like, that is crazy intense that in 1978 to 1989, it was, you're like, wow, that was such a short, in 11 years, that's what happened. And when you see the big picture, I kind of get to see myself when I'm stuck in that small moment of difficulty and you feel like the whole world is caving down on you. But you realize, like, 11 years, that's what God did. In 40 years, this is what God has done. That the small things that we're dealing with, they are actually very small. Of course, it's very intense at that moment. But when you put yourselves back in the big picture, you realize, wow, God has really been with us. And we've been through worse than this in the past. We look at where we started, and we see where we are now, and just even those first 11 years, watching like Sunset move from like a little place, like in the mountains, to a little room that fits 4 people, and to continuously just growing, just preaching the words over and over again, it really puts things into perspective. And it really helped me to look at all the difficulties and problems that I had. Like, wow, it's just a small problem. And in the big picture, just like God has done in the past, we are going to overcome it and we're going to be victorious, right? So, that just seeing that timeline, it was really amazing to see the pictures in the timeline and just what the key point was behind it. Like, we just preached. There was nothing else that mattered but just preaching. Even if it was a small room just fitting 4 people, we preached. People were like sitting side by side, right? Like shoulder to shoulder, like knees were touching. But just preached. And this is where it has come to this point right now. So, man, just be it reminds me once again when Sunset said, just the fact that you made the 10 years, you guys are doing well. And it made me think again about it, right? Because it's not like we didn't do anything. Oh, we set conditions. We did 1 a.m. prayer for like, how many years did we do 1 a.m. prayer? It was intense. We did like 5 years of Holy Spirit movements every Friday. We were trying our best. We were, and I'm sure like it was really, as weird as this sounds, heartwarming to hear, like, yeah, there's times you want to leave, right? There's times you don't want to be here, but you stuck through it, even though you didn't want to be here, right? And that's something that it really, really is commendable if you think about that. It is, yeah, I was just like, yeah, that's so true. It really is. And then after, during the timeline, we see that the first actual church building was built, and that was the 316 Commemorative Memorial Hall, right? The commemoration building. And then after that was built, then starting from 2015, we are like just boom, like churches were being bought left and right. And in like 10 years, we have over 100+ churches, which is incredible, guys. And when you hear the stories of what people did to buy these churches, they put their livelihood on the line to buy these church buildings for God. It's crazy, guys. Like, I started remembering all the things where people would sell their houses, people who would, like, their dream was to get a house and they finally buy one. And then the moment that this happens, they sell their house and they go back to renting because they want to do this. I was like, and this is from the Lord's Church. I know one of the families that did that. It was incredible. Think about it, guys. That your dream was to buy a house and you finally buy one and then you sell it so that God can buy his house first. It's so inspiring. And there's like even that Kwangmyong church too. I know there was like a JS, a mother, and all she had was like, she was divorced and everything else, separated because of Providence. And then she just had her house. That's all she had left. And then she sold it. Can you believe that? Like it's incredible the amount of sacrifice people put. Like their blessings are going to be out of this world. I can't imagine how much God is wanting to bless them for. It's just incredible. It really, really is. And just realizing this history over the last 43 years and just looking at what has happened until now. Yes, there are problems. Yes, there are things that are not good. Yes, there are things that we can improve on it and do so much more. But gosh, yeah, we are all from the same tribe of the Lord, right? And it was just through the words, it was preached to us, and we were evangelized through the word. We weren't evangelized through people. We were evangelized where God inspired our hearts and brought us into this history. And we cannot say anything about, it's because of the word, right? It was without the words, how could we be here right now? And the answer, and then like he says, you don't want to lose a temple. If you lose the value of the temple, then you'll lose the temple. Or if you lose your faith, right? If you lose yourself, then you lose everything. And I was really thinking about that too, because once it makes you think, oh, what does that mean to lose yourself? Or what does that mean, right? And I really was inspired by when Pastor Joan was talking about realize how valuable and how precious you really are. Right? Just realize how precious you were that Sunsim was willing to set the condition, right? And it's that term from the scriptures, right? You are not your own. You were bought by the blood of the cross, right? And the same thing here is that we were bought by the condition of the Lord. So don't stop raising the level, right? Don't stop. Realize how precious you are. Don't think that it's over. Don't think it's time to finish and stop and do things. Oh, let me live my own life right now. But we got to keep raising the level. There's going to be a joy every time you raise a level. And it's really intense because for me is like, yeah, it's true. We did make mistakes in the last 316, right? And we did make mistakes the 316 before that. And of course, the original 2015 316 was it's unbearable to think about. But it was like, make up for these losses this time. Make up for all the losses we had in the past, but let's do it properly. Let's make up for all of them. And it's like, yeah, even just a little bit, you're making up for it. You got this time, 2 days left, and we just got to make up for these and really get ourselves to just really be so focused and ready to receive this history once again, to be ready to be raptured to the next level. It's such a difficult time of the pandemic, but we've overcome it. We didn't lose our faith. We didn't make massive mistakes, and we're ready to come back again. And I think that is something that we really can think about too for this, for today and tomorrow, which is 316 again. That we can really receive it in such a powerful way. So, yeah, I'm very grateful and thankful. That prayer at the end, just ridiculous. Ridiculous meaning. I couldn't even sing the song. I'm already like tearing up right now. Right? It was just too intense. I was already crying, like even before the prayer started. I was already closing my eyes in prayer even before the song started. I was just like, oh, it's so true, right? And I'm like, yes, we gotta, raise the level, bring ourselves back up. We have to realize how precious and how valuable we truly are. So I was just like, yeah, this is it. This is really, and I was really inspired. So it's the perfect message. I was really thankful to the Holy Trinity for this, and I'm hoping that everyone else will really, really receive this 316 in the proper way, so that God can really that we can be thankful to God, and that when He rejoices for this day, that we're going to rejoice with Him as the true counterparts of love. It is a great and amazing time, right? All right, guys. So I know that you probably have a lot of different things you're thinking about for 316, but I hope that all of us here can really get our hearts and our minds back to where it should be. Okay. All right, guys, pandemic's going to end soon. Well, yeah, I think, slowly, like by country, it's going to end soon. And I hope that all of us here can bring our faith back to where it should be. Okay. All right, guys. So that is the end of today's word study, which means we're going to go into our song of the day, right? So what is the song of today? I'm going to go back to the Philippines, just because I love these Filipino singers, Filipinos, right? There's a song back in my days, in the 90s, right? And it was a group called Sisters with Voices, and they called themselves SWV. Oh, amazing, amazing group. And they have this song called Weak, and it's so good. But just within the last year or so, there's these two Filipinos from the Philippines, two singers from the Philippines, Daryl Ong and Kyla. They are so good. They are like the king and queen of R&B runs. They're so good. So I'm going to play this song from them. It's going to be a cover of SWV Weak. It's from Daryl Ong and Kyla. So please enjoy.
That you've done to me, but it's caused me to act in such a crazy way. Whatever it is that you do when you do what you're doing, baby, it's a feeling that I don't understand. 'Cause my heart starts beating triple time with thoughts of loving you on my mind. Can't figure out just what to do when the cause and cure is you. I get so weak in the knees I can hardly speak, I lose all control. Then something takes over me. In the days your love so amazing, it's not a phase. I want you to stay with me. By my side, I swallow my pride. Your love is so sweet, it knocks me right off of my feet. Can't explain why your love, it makes me weak.
Time after time after time, I've tried to fight it, but your love is strong, it keeps on holding on. Resistance is down when you're around, starts fading. In my condition, I don't wanna be alone, 'cause my heart starts beating triple time with thoughts of loving you on my mind. I can't figure out just what to do when the cause and cure is you. I get so weak in the knees, I can hardly speak. I lose all control, and something takes over me in a daze, and it's so amazing. It's not a phase. I want you to stay with me. By my side, I swallow my pride. Your love is so sweet, it knocks me right off of my feet. Can't explain why your love, it makes me weak.
Your love makes me weak.
I try so hard to fight it.
No, we cannot deny it.
Your love so sweet.
Knocks me off my feet. I get so weak, and I lose control, girl. It takes over me, and I want you to stay, baby. Your love is so sweet, it knocks me right off my feet. Can't explain why your love, it makes me weak. I get so weak.
Blood starts racing through my veins.
I get so weak.
Oh, yeah, it's something I can't explain.
I get
Something
so
about the
weak.
way you do the things you do. It's can't explain why your love, it makes me weak.
I get so weak in the knees.
I can hardly speak. I lose control.
Takes over
Takes all of me. It's so amazing.
I want you to stay with me. By my side,
was SWV with, well, it's not SWV. That was SWV's song Weak, covered by Daryl Ong and Kyla. Tell me, guys, that was hot, right? That was amazing. Like, their singing ability is just out of this world. And oh my gosh, the music, the accompaniment, gosh, they did such an amazing job with the music. Unbelievable. So it was really, really inspiring, and I really enjoyed that one. One of my favorites. Favorite songs, and also this is one of like the best covers I've ever heard. Either way, hope you guys really enjoyed that, which brings us to today's last section. It is 3:15 and tomorrow's 3:16, and we're gonna start with like pre-dawn tomorrow, have a message, and then on top of it we're gonna have a 2 to 4:30 p.m. is going to be our big service, right? Or like big celebration, right? So I hope that all of us can really enjoy this with all of our hearts. This, it is 3:16, and I do think it's something that we have to keep reminding ourselves of how, what actually happened during this time. But there's one thing I do want to focus on, especially before 3:16, is I had a really good conversation with SS. I'm teaching an SS right now too, a second gen, about Rapture. And the one of the good questions and the things that we have to think about is how are we bought? You know what I mean? How are we bought by that condition? Like, what does that mean, right? And of course, we have to bring it back to how we were bought even before, right? In the past, we were bought, in the New Testament time, we were bought by Jesus on the cross, right? So how is it that this one sacrifice, like, why is this one sacrifice such an important thing? And of course, we know that Jesus went through incredible amounts of pain and suffering, and then he was put on the cross and he died. And it says he died for us. And of course, here in Providence, we understand this at a much more deeper level when it comes to why it was such a big thing and necessary. And we know that because history was not supposed to go down that road where, you wouldn't expect the people of God to actually, kill the Messiah, the very person they're waiting for. But instead, like in this week's message too, it's like, let's keep talking, like, these people, they were trying to find a way to kill him, right? They hated him so much. They couldn't believe in him, no matter how much Jesus pleaded or preached or whatever it was. And because it went down that road, it's kind of like in the Old Testament. In the Old Testament time, in order for there to be forgiveness, in order for there to be something we do for God, one thing that matters is there has to be some type of sacrifice, right? Yeah, and this is what we do. This is what makes a relationship really powerful, is someone could like something, but they'll stop liking it, or they'll stop doing it because they love the other person, so they sacrifice something dear to them, right? So what happens? Like you'll hear, some people are really into music, but when they're having their baby and they realize this baby can be affected by the music, if it's not very good, then they'll stop listening to the music. Or, there's just so many different things where people like to go out, but they sacrifice that. It's something they don't want to sacrifice, but they realize there's something they love more, and then they sacrifice something dear to them so that it can continue, right? Because they'd rather be with that person in the relationship than just do that one thing, right? And sacrifice happens mainly because of love, regardless if it's a good or bad thing. Good thing is like, I love this person so much, I'm willing to sacrifice to stay with you. That's a great thing. That's a good reason, right? And of course, the other flip side of sacrifice is I made a mistake, right? So I sacrifice to restore the relationship too, right? And it's not like a tit for tat, like, oh, I did this, I will give you $1 million and now we are restored. Of course, it's nothing like that when it comes to relationships, but at the time of Jesus, because the people, his own people, didn't receive him, basically God was ready to start over and to start, no, not them anymore. It's going to be something else. He was ready to wipe them all out, right? Because it was the worst sin possible to kill the person that he sent. And Jesus, in his love, willingly and voluntarily sacrificed himself so that his people that he loved would have a chance to live, chance to be saved, right? And that sacrifice of him dying for the sake of others is the same thing as, it could be the same thing as if you love someone and you don't like another person, but because of the person you love and that person wants you to give them a chance, you'll give them a chance, because you love them, right? And you're not loving that person because you love them. It's because you love this person that wants you to give them a chance. And it's something that we do have to think about too, is one sacrifice over another, right? Something so valuable takes the place of another. And because Jesus did that, he died, right? He gave up the rest of his life. This was something that was so huge. And from that point on, regardless if you were even one of the people that went against Jesus, but then all of a sudden God's like, no, I don't want you here. But then Jesus like, no, Jesus says, God, this is someone who's really loved me a lot, and they treated me so well, and that's why, can you please accept them? And God would be like, oh, really? Like, they treated you well, right? It's almost like parents and children. If you treat someone's children really well, the parents love you. Just the way it is, right? If the kids love you and you treat them so well, you take them out, oh, the parents just love you, right? Because they love their children so much. And if someone else is treating your children you love to death, and they are like, oh my, they look at us like, wow, that is, wow. And you'll treat that person well because they're treating the people you love so well, right? Someone treats my wife well, I'm going to treat them well, right? Someone treats my mother well. Wow, I'm so thankful to them. And because of that condition set by Jesus, a condition of love, that whoever believed and really set the condition to love Jesus, God was willing and able to accept, and this gave the chance for all Israel to be saved still, even though they did that, if they turned and loved Jesus, right? So when you look at that condition that was set, it's the exact same thing that's happening at the time right now. Is there wasn't a single person there wasn't a single person that deserved the rapture. Like, we didn't do well. We didn't testify properly. Like, things were supposed to happen so well in 1999. Originally, 1999 was the year that Sunseam was supposed to be proclaimed. That was the year. Even though it was the beginning of the grave period, but it makes sense because once you're proclaimed, people are going to come against you, right? And that was the year it was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen. And instead, the grave period kept rolling over and over and over, up to 4 times, right? When we learned in the Time, Times, and Half lecture. And we realized that we didn't do what we're supposed to do. And that's why songs like in Christianity relate to us now, like that song, We Are the Reason. It goes, what's that song go? It goes, we are the reason that he gave it. You know, when you hear that song, it's like, and we would look back in the past because we didn't do it yet. And we'd be like, oh, we can't do that again. But now it applies to us because we did do that. Like, Sunseam had to sacrifice. After the 10 months of torture in China, and then once again 10 years. During that time, it was incredibly difficult. It's unimaginable what he went through in prison. You couldn't imagine what it was like. And he was willing to do that. And because he did that, this is why we were able to be in this position. And the day of the rapture, not a single person can say, I deserve it. Right? It's exact same because it's the time of the cross. Not a single person would say, I deserve it. But everyone would have to say, wow, I don't deserve this at all. And that's truth, right? And we have to realize this really deeply that, it's because of the conditions that were set. And all we're doing is on top of that foundation, we're building on top of that foundation. It's like Paul says, right? Paul says that we build on the foundation that is Christ. Right? And we're building houses out of precious metals or straw or hay. And when the time of judgment comes, that house will be tested by fire. But the one thing, even if your entire house burns down, the one thing that remains is the foundation of Christ, because he set that condition as long as we believe, right? Realizing how valuable and powerful it is to just believe, right? It's not easy, guys. You guys got to think about this very carefully. It's not easy to believe when everyone's against him, right? It's true. We see it all the time. It's not easy just to be able to believe in that condition, right? Just to be able to believe while he's 10 years in prison. Just to be able to believe while we're doing 1 a.m. prayer. Just to be able to believe while we're struggling with life too. That is incredible when you think about that. So we need to realize, yes, we are precious, and what we did was, it was so amazing. And we have to pat ourselves on the back too, but realizing all this was because we are valuable too, and we have to make ourselves even more. So I hope that we can really prepare our hearts and our minds even more when it comes to the rapture tomorrow, the day's celebration of the rapture, and that many more people, new people, will be able to rapture too at that time. So I really hope that all of us will pray really well during the pre-dawn and pray just really celebrating this day that God has been rejoicing over, and he's been waiting for over billions of years just for this one day to happen. So let us celebrate it properly and well together with the Holy Trinity. All right, guys. So with that in mind, we are going to end this last segment today, which means that tomorrow, guys, is going to be an amazing day. We're going to have a podcast tomorrow, but of course, it's not going to be a exact same thing because it's more of a celebration day, and I hope that all of us here can really, really bring our hearts together and have an amazing 316. All right, guys. So prepare well, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the Morning Star Drive, you know. I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm